YouTubers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having the best day ever. I am back in Brighton, which means daily videos again starting from right now. I hope you're here for it. I'm very excited for it. Let's first and foremost get into our mucker hug for today. Also, I do need to say that my light is still broken that I film with my YouTube videos. So we're just going for this like yellow, really bad lighting from up here. So I hope it's okay. I mean, it kind of looks cozy, so let me know what you think about it. But let's go in for our mucker hug. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited for today's video because it is an absolutely insane one. And we've got to talk. Also, if you hear snorting, it is my little girl, Bonnie. The girls are back in the apartment with me. I have missed them so much, and they are actively watching me as I film right now. I have Bonnie here, and I have Dolly here. So, anyway, Emily Artful posted a YouTube video, and it's called I'm Done, Shannon. Now, this is Emily Artful's response to Shannon's response to everything. So if you don't know what's happening, Creepshow art is called Shannon. Now, she got exposed and got probably one of the most intense YouTube cancellations we've seen as of yet. Like, I'm talking in parallel of James Charles getting cancelled with like the amount of subscribers that she lost with the amount that James lost. If you compare both of their subscriber counts, it actually is Creepshow art probably had a bigger fall. And now there were multiple different things that happened. Initially, Creepshow art was exposed by a website called LolCow, and it is basically an anonymous website in which you can go on and say things and your name is not attached to it, and it is the most horrible concept in the entire internet. It's almost as bad as Reddit, where people can just go on and just spew hate without any repercussions, and that's exactly what Creepshow art was doing. Now, she broke so many of the rules that the people who actually run the website basically posted what her posts were on it as a way of punishment because she had been consistently breaking so many of these rules. Now, the rules going from self-promotion to getting herself so much hate so that then she could make YouTube videos talking about how much hate she's getting on this website, just all these different things. She doxed her own sister. So many different things, right? Now, anyway, whenever we fast forward, these posts came out, and in them, Creepshow art had been talking shit about all of her YouTube besties, from D'Angelo Wallace to Ready to Glare to Smoky Glow. There were just so many different instances of Creepshow talking shit, and it was really disgusting. From flat out degrading comments about her friends to just really offensive ones to just the most disgusting, heinous things that she could be saying about her public best friends, keep in mind. And now Creepshow art had been one of the most best reputations within the YouTube commentary space because she was friends with everyone and she was always nice to everyone. Well, here we've seen that it was all fake. Now, anyway, after the LolCow thing started to come out, it's important to note that that came out first. A YouTuber called Emily Artful basically made an exposed video speaking up against Shannon that was talking about the fact that Shannon and her husband Anthony had been stalking and harassing her, Emily, who's also another YouTuber, for years upon years. And the video was great. We've talked about it. It was intense. It was disturbing. It was disgusting. The things that were happening to her, the video was done so well. I have videos on that on my channel. And then I made a video about Shannon's response. So now, we officially have Emily's response to this. And so I've taken notes. It is an hour and 35 minutes long. And I'm going to get through all the parts that I deemed taking notes of. And we're going to go through it. So, first of all, we have Shannon's lawyer tried to get Emily to completely shut down and remove any trace of Shannon and never say anything about her ever again. So basically, in Shannon's video, she came back and said that if this video was going up, then they have reached a settlement or they're in the process of a legal battle, and was making it seem like she was basically successfully suing Emily Artful, which has not happened. Again, it would be public knowledge, and it's not. In here we have Emily confirming that it didn't happen or isn't happening. I mean, she has all this time. Why hasn't she sued yet? You know what I mean? So, Shannon's lawyer, for a matter of fact, didn't try to, sue her, didn't try to shut her down or whatever, basically just threatened Emily that she had to never speak about Shannon again in a lengthy, like one of those letters, I don't know what they're called, like cease and desist, kind of a bit more intense than that. Now, whenever we go a bit further into it, it kind of gets told to us that Emily believes that Shannon thought that if all of the videos were gone on her that Emily had made, and people then knew that Emily was being quiet, that people would kind of come to the conclusion that it was handled offline, and maybe Emily was guilty, and maybe Shannon was telling the truth because she handled it offline and now she's back again. So basically, Emily is saying that that is not what's going to happen, and she's not going to delete her videos, and she's not going to go into silence, and Shannon is going to face repercussions, and I'm absolutely here for it because for so long Shannon was not. Alright, so then, yeah, she believed that Shannon would eventually come back to the online space again because she had scared Emily off and then made Emily look guilty by deleting everything. Now we know that Emily did not do that. So we have the company that was sending Emily the legal letters is basically a PR company. Now this was one of the most shocking things to me, and so predictable, of course Shannon would do this, is basically a PR company that deals with negative reviews and cleaning up the act of online celebrities. So basically what they do is they send a scary letter to people, and then if they don't have a legal team, the people who got sent the letter, it's kind of a very intimidating thing to see. So you kind of just do what they're asking, which is, you know, going into silence or never speaking their name again or deleting all traces of every post online. However, Emily is not going to do that, and whenever she looked a bit further into the company, I didn't write this part down, but it just stuck out in my head. When she looked a bit more into the PR company, basically, that sent the legal letter, their quote or something like that is like helping your reputation or fixing your reputation, and it's something so shady that is literally like public manipulation to make yourself look good again. So of course, that's the company Shannon chooses to align herself with. So they tried to scare Emily with a legal letter, which was basically a very threatening one, and Emily is not having any part of it, which obviously, because it's a bunch of balls. So Emily believes that Shannon knew that she had no legal battles, so she tried to bring Emily down with her, which was whenever Shannon basically made the video trying to expose Emily, talking about her past history, talking about things that she had done whenever she was like teenager, young child. Now I have a point down here that I'm going to get to, and I'll get to it a bit more, but I really do just want to touch upon it now. So much of what Creepshow advocates online, you know, like a storytime YouTuber, is talking about the fact that when someone is very young and going into their 20s, even their first couple years of 20s, their brain's not developed, they're not mentally all there, so any decisions that they make online or some in their personal life, they're not really going to fully know what they're doing, they're not going to fully know the grasp of it, and they can't really be held that much accountable for it. Shannon has always stayed consistent with that. But what's so funny, and Emily brings up this point, is that Shannon literally is using all of these moments from that time frame, that time period, against Emily whenever her main thing online is why would people use that against Shannon, or why would Shannon use it against other people? So again, it really is just Shannon being very opportunistic, that she can try drag Emily down with the only things that she can, which is things that maybe Emily did whenever she was literally a teenager or 20 years old. So that's important to note, right? One really important part to talk about that Emily brings up in her video is that Shannon had posted the script of her video whenever she published the video, but before that she also had another original script basically get leaked, and in the original script it included many mutual friends between Emily and Shannon who Shannon claimed were witnesses and that would speak up against Emily. And so we're seeing this never happened, and Emily didn't have any of that in the video against her in the end, and Shannon took it all out. So we literally had Shannon basically threatening to have all of Emily's friends speak up against her, but again, none of that ever sufficed and none of them ever did. So again, bunch of balls. Now, Shannon claims that Emily is fully the reason that she had to leave YouTube. Again, in my opinion, the lol cow stuff came out way before this, and her reputation was fucked way before that. And again, it was only because of the lol cow things coming out that Emily really felt the need that she could speak up, that people would be listening, because Shannon is such a big figure within the YouTube space. So Shannon, fuck off, that's not true. Emily talks about how most of Shannon's evidence were taken from 2 years ago, like screenshots actively shown that they were taken, like screenshotted, over 2 years ago. So she talks about the fact that it's really creepy that Shannon Creepshow Art has been almost prepping for this exposed video from Emily for over 2 years now, collecting evidence against her from over 2 years ago. Anyways, Emily also says how Shannon found posts from her under usernames that Emily forgot that she had. So she's basically scared on how much Shannon knows about her life whenever Shannon was able to find social media posts on social media platforms under all of these random usernames that Emily is like, oh yeah, I have used that username in my life, but I don't remember using it. I also don't remember the password for it. I can't remember what I was posting under that. So the fact that Shannon knows all that shows, in Emily's opinion, and I fully believe what she's saying, that Shannon has been actively like collecting data about Emily for so long. Now it's just so weird because Shannon was never properly involved within the saga to start with. It was that Shannon's husband Anthony and Emily, that full situation. So Shannon being involved in this and people having the audacity to be like, oh, you know, there's there's three opinions in this now. Anthony, Shannon, what? No, Shannon is literally just deranged that she involved herself and is such a pick-me that she literally is just speaking up for her husband, who's failing to speak up for himself because he's a little twat. Anyways, sorry. It's important to note that Shannon has said about the young people online, the kind of point that we touched upon, but is using all those points against Emily. So again, I had written that down. I do think that's an important thing to know. Now, Emily also said that Shannon actively lied in her video about her DRUG use. She said that a lot of it was just not true and a lot of it was fabricated, and she would not talk about the fact that things were prescribed sometimes, and also just a mix of different things. But she said a lot of what Shannon was saying about DRUG were completely fabricated. And of course they were, because what other argument would Shannon have other than making stuff up? Emily says how most of Shannon's video is her jumping to conclusions or finishing stories because she doesn't have the answers to them because she was never involved in them. And again, I think that is very believable. Now, Shannon has never met Emily, even though she knows most of her life. I just want to write that down as a point. Shannon has never met Emily. Well, she's probably fucking followed her to a cafe here and there, probably. But she's never met her, yet she knows everything about her life. Is that not the most scary thing you've ever heard? Like the most unhinged thing ever? Anyway, Shannon is taking Anthony's side, you know, against Emily. And again, she's literally not involved in this. A big point Emily makes is that Shannon just puts so many screenshots on the screen that don't align with her story or show Shannon doesn't understand math. Now, what I mean by that, two different things. Number one, I called Shannon out for this in her original video, but she will talk for fucking extended lengths of time and put like 10 screenshots on the screen, and none of them really match up with what she's saying at all. But because she's speaking and then has screenshots on the screen, not everyone is going to stop the video and read all the screenshots. They're going to assume that she has all the information on what she's talking about, which is not the case. And now the other thing about maths is, whenever, I didn't even notice this in Shannon's video because I wasn't so like anally watching it, but of course Emily would have because it was being said about her. Emily brings up how in so many parts of Shannon's video, she puts screenshots on the screen that debunk what she's saying because the time frame is like 3 years off, or 2 months off, or 5 weeks off, or again, 10, like all these different time frames are not making sense, and the year is on it, or the month is on it, or the date is on it, and then Shannon is saying something completely different, like a different date, but is not acknowledging that. So Emily's like, she's either completely stupid or she just doesn't understand math. Now again, that's a really good point to bring up, that a lot of Shannon's video, while it is just flashy, look at all these screenshots, a lot of it is just completely inaccurate. Timeline speaking, it is completely inaccurate. And it doesn't make sense, none of it really aligns, and I don't know why Shannon, who has held herself to such a high and mighty position within the commentary space of getting facts right and finally being one of the reliable ones, had such an issue and such a problem with literally just checking the dates and seeing that it doesn't match up with what she's saying. So I think if we're coming to a conclusion, Shannon knew that she was going into this video and she wasn't gonna win. She basically just had to throw everything, any screenshots she's ever had, any dates she's ever, literally any experiences she's ever had with Emily that do not exist because she's never met her before. This video by Shannon was awful. This video by Emily was, you know, it was a bit all over the place. However, I do need to give credit where credit is due. She's responding to Shannon's video that was a bit all over the place, so it only makes sense. But either way, I thought Emily's video was great. I thought she made a lot of really valid points. I think it's so scary, the things that she's had to go through because of Shannon, that Shannon fails to acknowledge. I think Anthony and Shannon are incredibly deranged people, and I think we're seeing that more and more every day. Oh my god, what is going on? It's so weird. It's so weird, it's so scary. Shannon is literally so unhinged. Emily, I'm sending you my best. Anytime I film these videos, I feel more and more bad for you whenever we find out more and more information. This is insane. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Your video was great. And again, it made a lot of sense for me, like finding all these dates and stuff that are so inaccurate in Shannon's video that I never originally thought of because I wasn't, again, watching it like so close like that. But anyway, muckers, I want to know what your opinion is in this. I just can't believe Shannon's legal team is allegedly is a PR team that are trying to help celebrities falling images. What? The lowest is what? That. Anyways, mucker, I love you. I'll see you in my next one. Let me know your opinion on this. And yeah, have a great day and bye. Mwah.